going to introduce our next speaker. He's the managing director of Netbiscuits, Asian subsidiary in Singapore. His career developed, well, I'm not saying he's that old, but his career developed right alongside the internet. Well, with credentials in both the business development and marketing arena, he has also spent over 12 years in various parts of Asia, including Singapore, Hong Kong, and Korea. He initially started his career in the consulting industry. In 1999, he was appointed the managing director for the Canbox Technologies Group, a regional subsidiary in Singapore, where he was responsible for establishing Canbox's Asian market presence for unified messaging services and for setting up the infrastructure required to provide them. He left the consulting industry in 2007 and joined Netbiscuits to open their office in Singapore. He is a native of Germany. He holds a graduate degree in business administration from the University of Berlin. He also is a frequent speaker at Asian Internet, Media, and Telecom conferences. He currently serves as a board member of the Asia chapter of the Mobile Entertainment Forum. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you our next speaker, Mr. Joerg Krahnert. George, thank you.
Thank you, Tony, for those warm words. I thought they sent the short bio. I wasn't aware that they sent the long one. Great, thank you. I'm very excited to be here. Arthur, thank you so much for the invitation to have me here. We've seen a lot of great presentations, and what I'd like to talk to you about is a little bit about Mlti-screen today. Introduce Netbiscuits a little bit, but also how we bring mobile sites and tablet sites not to small campaigns, but to really to large brands and media companies. So I'll introduce Netbiscuits a little bit. I realize I think we're a little bit late. I'll keep it brief, some of the things, to make sure that we all get lunch on time. But what's Netbiscuits? Anand coming afterwards, Google. Everybody knows Google. Everybody knows a lot of other companies. But just like to introduce Netbiscuits a little bit. I'll try not to make this a sales pitch too much anyway. But at least that you guys know who I am and what our company does. So what we really are is a software solution. We're part of the software stack of many large brands and media companies. So what does the global leader in software solutions for adaptive mobile web experiences really mean? It means that we enable anyone to build great mobile and tablet sites as well as apps in a very efficient manner, and we ensure that it's actually delivered in a perfect way. So just a couple of numbers. I won't bore you too much with these. We have about 10 billion page impressions of all our combined clients serving out every month. We have a lot of users, a lot of developers using our tool set to build sites. We deliver over 150 million videos, so it's really a big, scalable, cloud-based platform that Netbiscuits is all about. We use a lot of big enterprise names use the Netbiscuits platform. Coca-Cola, ABC, MTV, Easy DVD. We just launched the Bangkok Bank mobile site in Thailand, which is very exciting. So we also work with a lot of partners. Okay, so we don't all build these sites ourselves. We use partners to build these sites, but we also have technology partners such as Akamai, who may accelerate content delivery, such as Rackspace, who hosts our solution, but also systems integrators such as Mindtree or SDL, Sapient. So it's really one big ecosystem that Netbiscuits work with. So that all means that we have a solution made up of all these parts. Again, I won't really go too much into them, but we provide professional services for anyone that wants us to build a mobile site. And the platform is made up of these 5 components: development, device optimization, and Joshua was speaking of that. And I'll go into it, device optimization a little bit as well. What a nightmare a fragmentation is. So we address that with our platform too. We can host any kind of application on our side. Many clients prefer to do that on their side. Obviously, security is very important. Working for financial institutions as well as big brands, and then everybody wants analytics. Everybody wants to know who was on my site. What did they do on it? So that's one big solution that we do. Of course, we have developer APIs, and I'll get into those a little bit later, because many of you dealing with mobile marketing or mobile advertising as such may not be aware of how complex it is to actually integrate big brand sites into a mobile site. So this is what it looks like. I mean, I've talked a lot, and I think it's always good to show what these sites look like. There's an Easy DVD site from Australia on top. Then we have Public Storage, Screwfix. All those are big brand names. Those are all commerce sites, so people actually do an end-to-end transaction on these sites. And like I said, we'll enable that as well to work on a tablet, and what that looks like, I'll show you a little bit later. So let's talk about a little bit of mobile strategy. Okay, we see 5 really heavy trends for going forward into 2013 and for 2014 coming up. So device proliferation, as we all know, and I think it's probably one of the most stolen or retweeted statistic that 2014 mobile users will surpass desktop users globally. Mary Meeker first mentioned that about 2 years ago. I don't think there's a single presentation that I've not seen that in, and hence, I'd like to say it too. Web access, a lot of people use, 4 times more people use mobile broadband connections than via PC in just 2 years. So that's again, as things are moving really towards the mobile. Most people use the internet on a smartphone today. In terms of application development, I'll explain a little bit more about the app versus mobile site debate later, but what everybody is saying, all the analysts are saying, actually things will move away a little bit from the app sphere into mobile sites, because we have frameworks such as HTML5 and protocols that make that very easy. And then, of course, how do we scale? Somebody just asked that regarding China. And one of the answers certainly is if you move everything into the cloud, that'll really help to scale. Okay, so these are the 5 key trends in web development that we see. Here I am again talking. Mobile will be first in numbers by 2014. So not much to talk about there. But now we go back a little bit deeper into what is how do we address fragmentation? Okay, how do you do a strategy when you face this? So we have so many platforms out there on the mobile, so many carriers, so many browsers, many manufacturers. So some people call it device fragmentation, some people call it device diversity. Some people call it a nightmare, and that's what very often it really is. We did a little sort of overlay of just Android devices. So this really means, let's show you what that actually means. This is just screen sizes of some, not all, some of the Android devices. So that really, in one slide, shows you how difficult it is. And we saw, Joshua's pictures of some of the screen rendering that you see in China. And obviously we serve China, we serve India. So with these big countries and so many different screen sizes, it's just a big issue. And big brands, and that's the important thing. Big brands really need their brand to be protected and the content to be served out properly. It's very detrimental and damaging if you send out, show a mobile site that looks lousy. It'll really be not only will not help your brand, it'll really be detrimental. So again, talking about big brands and not campaign sites but large e-commerce sites. This is what you're usually faced with: legacy environment. And people say, build me a mobile site. But, of course, all my data from my content management system, my digital asset management, CRM, loyalty, product catalog, payment, all that has to, of course, all go into that little screen. So how do you do that? Well, most of these systems today will probably say we have a mobile plugin. Okay, so that's the one on top. Then you have 28 mobile plugins. Okay, so that's really a big problem. A, for cost. B, for consistency. You don't really know if they operate well with each other. But also sustainability. There's some smaller companies may not be there tomorrow. So that's a big issue, and that's what we solve as well. What we actually do, and this is what we encourage all the big brands to do, is build a service layer. Say, use a platform such as Netbiscuits. Consolidate all the feeds and information that comes from that back end, and we will then make sure it's delivered properly. So we will pretty much take the headache out of getting getting it consistent, making sure the price is right, and of course making sure it's sustainable. So all of that to put together and talking to all our clients, we've really come up with about 5 success factors to make a mobile initiative strategically viable. Okay, so it's the user experience, it's about efficiency, of course it's about performance, it's about ROI, and interoperability among them. So I'll just get into each of them a little bit. So starting out with the user experience, because if the user experience is bad, and I cannot reiterate this enough, and all the agency people who will know this, nobody will care about your site. Actually, again, it'll be detrimental to the brand. Okay, so that's what everybody should start with. What kind of user experience? Find a user experience that's relevant for everybody. Make it available everywhere for all the new devices in the market, and that's really one of the secret sauces of our company, where we say, well, we buy new devices every month. We don't buy the data from that does. We actually buy new devices. We have 50 new devices added to our database every month. Excuse me. Make sure your service level is above 99%. That seems trivial, but actually many people don't really know that. So user experience, that's number 1. Okay. Second one is efficiency. Reduce the number of platforms, and this is what I was talking about just now, to keep things manageable. Use standard technologies. I was very happy to hear a gentleman from Globe saying they're using the Amdocs platform, which is a great standard piece of technology in terms of billing. So that's good. Do use predefined solutions. Don't try to reinvent the wheel for everything. And do things in the cloud. So we call it software as a service, or infrastructure as a service, or platform as a service. It doesn't really matter. That's really a good way of doing things. Then we have performance. Adopt enterprise scale infrastructure. Use content acceleration methodology. It's companies such as Akamai really do a great job, and then or AWS or anything. We built the site for the Olympics, for the IOC, and obviously in August the whole world was looking at that site. And if you look at it today, I don't know the URL exactly, but if you look at it today, you will see it will load within 2 seconds as a mobile site. It's great, and that was enhanced by content delivery network, which is really, really good. Yeah, of course, you have to have 24/7 service and support infrastructure. Interoperability, I was talking about this earlier. This is really, really important, and it's very important to be able to integrate all the backend systems. So that platform that should be delivering the mobile site needs to be able to, especially contact into a content management system. Okay, Sitecore, SDL, Magento, Savas, and all these e-commerce systems are not really complicated. They all have a standard feed, so it's not that difficult. But if you have many of them, it can be a little bit more difficult. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but separation between content and layout is very, very important. So the design is, with us, and the content is in a content management system. Again, it's not just about content management. It's also about other systems, catalog, loyalty, payment, all that kind of stuff, couponing, and then use a tier 1 technology partner. We cannot reiterate enough. We were just talking about this yesterday with a large FMCG who basically said, yeah, they have a small agency in Jakarta. That's where the application is hosted, and the guy managing it comes in once a week. And we said, oh, that's great. So that is really, really something I really cannot reiterate enough. Use tier 1 hosting partners for your sites. Last, I think this is the last one. No, it's the last one. All of it comes down to ROI. If you do that well, the ROI will come as well. But you need to really speed up your time to market. You can do that with web apps. You can do that with good mobile sites. Maximize the reach, and we have mobile ad networks such as InMobi here. They will help you do that. And cut costs. You can do that by building not huge native apps, but also hybrid apps on mobile sites. So there are many ways to reach good ROI, but that's something you always should consider. So these 5 are really, really important. If you look at them and keep in mind, you're on your way to good mobile strategy. So I'll talk about a little bit about apps and mobile sites. We've had it a little bit in some of the previous speakers, but I think it's something I mentioned that 50% of mobile presence will tend to go into the direction of mobile sites. Of course, there are many apps out there, and I love apps as much as the next guy. But I'll just go into just a little bit of factor. All right, that's important. So one of our clients, eBay. Okay, eBay is our largest client. It's our flagship client. We love them. If you type m.ebay.com or any other country domain, it'll be running by the Netbiscuits platform. And what they've said is they do a lot of apps. Okay, and what they've said is that they were actually promoting their apps on their mobile sites. So they're trying to drive away traffic from mobile sites to the apps. But despite them proactively moving traffic over, the traffic increase has been really as much on the mobile site as much as it has been on the apps. Okay, so for them, it's very important to actually have a mobile strategy that includes mobile sites as well as apps. So that's what So eBay can obviously afford to do both, but it's really, really important to understand that. So some statistics on apps, and we were basically saying if a big brand has an app-only strategy, it's flawed. Okay, you can really make a big mistake there just for reach. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly how old these are. I have to apologize for that, but apparently sometime 26% of all apps are never used again after the first day. I do that sometimes. 95% of downloaded mobile apps are never used again after the first month. Almost all. Again, not sure when this was, but to a certain extent, I believe it. Even if it's a little bit less, that's actually pretty shocking. So that means, the number of downloads. What do the number of downloads actually tell you? Do they tell you how well these apps are used? No. They will tell you how good at app marketing that particular company is. So the cost of creating and updating an apps on these devices is really, really high, and maintaining them cross-platform mobile sites is much lower. Okay, if you look at two central points, and again, I'm talking about big brand sites to do for the mobile commerce, they have to look at two things. One is setting up the app, and two is managing it, right? If you do a pure mobile website, that's done once in a central repository. You keep it there, you manage it from there. And on pure mobile app, and we've had this all the time, we speak to our clients on this, they will say, I want an Apple app, I want an iPhone app, I want an Android app, give me a Windows 8 app, and throw in BlackBerry as well. So then they want to change the app, not the content, but the app itself. And then the iOS guys say, well, that works, okay. Android says, no, it doesn't. We have to do it in a different way. BlackBerry says it doesn't work at all, and Windows 8, somewhere else. Couldn't make it today. So you'll have that problem all the time. And then the brand starts to compromise on what that app can actually be and do. So that's why, in many ways, we do encourage a mobile site, because you can change them, and they will change all across every device. The issue is, one way to address, if you really do want an app, because people love apps and they're hot, and they're very popular, one way to actually address it is to build a hybrid app, build a mobile site and wrap around it. So it is an app and acts like an app, and it's uploadable into the app stores, and you have the advantage of being able to managing it centrally. So again, an app and a mobile site don't usually exclude each other. And one of our clients, Mercedes-Benz in APAC, built a great mobile site available under m.mercedesbenz.com.my. Really nice. But they actually also have a link to an app in their mobile site. So the mobile site itself is about models, really, really nice. But if you click on that link there, you'll be led to the iPhone App Store. And coincidentally, you, of course, only get this particular link or this particular advertisement if you look at the site with an iPhone. If you get an Android one, I think you'll be led to a TVC. And they will lead to this SLS AMG game, which you can then conveniently download onto your iPhone. So again, they don't really exclude each other. It's not a fight or one will win or something. Both really have their advantages and their reasons for being. So looking at app-only strategies, always saying is, don't just look at apps to reach your audience. So let's talk about multi-screen. That was all about mobile sites, but what about these babies? Are you guys all ready for multi-screen? So I think this is going to be the last statistic, but this is really, really important. And I think what we've seen on the mobile is just a little preload of things to come on what's going to happen with tablet. 2 years ago, somebody just said that yesterday. 2 years ago, we didn't know what an iPad was. Right? A little more than 2.5 years ago. 2011, 60 million tablets were shipped. 5 years later, they're expecting 400, almost 400, shy of 400 tablets. That is staggering. iOS and Android will they've made up about 90% of the market shares in the first years. It's dwindling a little bit if you look at the numbers for 2016. There'll be about 80%. But these things here are really, really going to hit us. And there's so many things you can do with a tablet that you cannot do on the mobile phone. So it's important for the agencies out there to really understand how that can help the brands as well. Because today you have a lot of challenges. If you show a mobile site or if you show a site on the tablet, what you basically still do is show the website. Okay, and that's a big, big issue. Because websites were made for the PC web, whereas tablets do different things. They're swipe and not point and click. Okay, so it's a compromised experience again. Apps are great, and again, I love apps on my tablet as well. They perform well, but you had the issues I just mentioned. You cannot manage them centrally. You have to have different ones to reach your whole audience. Again, there's a lot of fragmentation, so many out there, and the competitors are launching tablet initiatives as well. So the big brands are really stuck, and that's something we at Netbiscuits are really trying to address. So what we've done is we've created an HTML5 framework called Tactile that does that. And what we really want to do is we want to bring that experience of the app into the browser. Okay, this is launched recently. There are a couple of sites that we have which are really fantastic. I'll be happy to show them outside. I don't have connectivity here at this point. One from BMW, and these sites are live. You can watch them. Beautiful app-like sites. So they're not, and you really tend to, if you look at these, you tend to forget that they're actually not apps, but because they work exactly like apps, but they're mobile sites, and they don't work on an iPad. They will work cross-device and any kind of tablet. So that makes things really a lot easier for big brand or any agency to bring this to a big brand, to say, I'll give you an experience on the tablet that is made for the tablet. Okay, this is one of them. This is another one called Stylebook, which we built as an e-commerce showcase. It's really great. Again, I'll be happy to show you those. With big, compelling images, and a lot of usability, Facebook, any kind of social media integration. So this is the kind of stuff. This is what e-commerce looks like on the tablet, and it's not a small, fully cramped, Amazon kind of site. These are, really, really big sites. So, wrapping up, a couple things. So mobile is here to stay. Your customers are already there. Is that trivial? Is that? I would think, hey, anybody telling me that mobile is here to stay to touch an audience? Come on. Well, you know what? Yesterday, I couldn't make it yesterday's session, afternoon session. I spoke to the digital manager of a huge FMCG, and I will not disclose because it won't really shine positively on that person here in the Philippines. But she's responsible for the digital, all the digital marketing initiatives for the region, not just for this country. I talked to her about what's happening in 2013 on your mobile, and she said, well, we're just starting. We're going to look at how mobile is going to pan out for us. You're coming down. I guess I have to stop. So, you know what? It is something that people don't really know yet. And it is here to stay, and this person says, oh, yeah, I have to understand this is here to stay. So it's really not trivial. Again, mobile will not be a small device. It's really multi-screens, and I talked about mobile today, the little device, and I talked about tablets. There's much more to come. The agencies will be hard at work when we have smart TVs coming, where you do, with gesture recognition, where you swipe, sitting on your sofa, and something will happen there. That's another much bigger device that's coming. Again, apps only is a challenge. I would not advise anyone to bet everything on apps. And as usual, how do you do this in a structured way? Think about your objectives, formulate your mobile strategy with the 5 points that I mentioned earlier, execute, and really look at best practice. Some great initiatives out there in the region, but also in the US and in Eastern Europe. And don't reinvent the wheel. Let companies that provide platforms, that provide software services help you. All right, thank you so much. That concludes my presentation.
Fantastic. George, just enough time maybe for 1 or 2 questions. So let's, does anybody have a question out there first before I ask George my own question? All right, let me begin. Well, interestingly, what you just said somehow, for my own experience, runs counter to what I've been told, which is when I say, you've got to build a good website if you want to sell your products or your services, and people tell me, that's so 20th century. And they say that the only way you can actually do mobile marketing in this century is to have an app. But now you're saying, and I think what you actually meant was beware of just relying on apps. Right. So the danger is that if you have an app, is that it doesn't really work across all platforms. Yeah.
Well, an app is very device specific.
Yes.
Always. An iPhone app works for an iPhone. So it's just more difficult and much more expensive to build apps trying to reach such an for an FMCG or a huge company for a Jollibee trying to reach everybody. Not luxury audience or not a specific demographic, but really trying to reach everybody, 8 to 88s. That is a challenge. And if you build a mobile site, which works well on every phone, including legacy phones, it'll just be much more cost efficient.
Yeah. So in the sense that the strategy that, at least for you in NetBiscuit, is driving for is to what? Make sure that you maintain a lot of your clients' presence on websites instead of just on apps.
Well, so it's really both. Like I said, one doesn't exclude the other, and eBay does both. We're not saying it's all mobile websites, but what we're saying is be aware of this trend of people saying everything is towards apps.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that. Well, there's a mobile site for many of those too, and it's become a fad. I mean, I've spoken to some of the clients, big brand managers again, and they said, "Can you please build me an app?" And I said, "Why?" And they said, "I don't know, but everybody has one, so we need one too."
Exactly. I mean, like what I said, right? People will say, "Why build a website? That's so 20th century. Why not go into the app universe?" Yeah.
Well, if you look at many of the apps out there, they are hidden, they're masked, wrapped mobile sites that you cannot upgrade, or that you also cannot refresh when you're online.
Yeah.
Right. So actually, the borders it's a little bit overlapping on many of the things. At the end, it doesn't really matter as long as you can actually reach the objective of what the brand wants to do.
Right. But I have to agree with one of the points you raised, that 95% of people who download apps wind up not using them after the first month. I mean, does anybody here still use Draw Something? I mean, I played Draw Something for a month and I totally forgot I had it. Then you keep on getting poked. All right. Any other questions for George? All right. I think we'll say thank you to George Krahnert. Thank you very much, George.
Thank you.
Thank you.